What's really cool about Calhaffa is this. Let's say, older people are starting to remarry, and they're marrying people that have families. And let's say that you marry somebody and you rent out your property and they rent out their property, and you guys go to move it together, but you rent a property together. Now it's been, let's say, 3 years. You've been renting out your properties for 3 years. You've been renting a property for 3 years. Now you're a first-time homebuyer again. So going to the Calhaffa seminar will teach you the things to work around being a first-time homebuyer and your income limitations. Okay. Also, there's one called Chinoya. Please don't ask me how to spell it. We'll see it on the rate sheet that we use. Tomorrow we'll be using a rate sheet. And I believe the company that we're using the rate sheet is going to be Orion, and Orion does Chinoya. Okay. But the thing about the first-time homebuyer programs, here's your problem, is like I said earlier, you're going to be up against people who are doing cash down payments or paying for the property all cash. And like I said, if you're a seller, are you going to take somebody who's going to take a week or two longer because they're doing a first-time homebuyer program? Or are you going to take somebody who has cash? You're going to take the cash buyer. However, there are some needles in the haystack, as they say. And or is that what they say? Needles in the haystack? But anyway, because there's sometimes people that are selling their home that they need to stay in the home longer. So it doesn't matter to them that the buyer is getting a first-time home buyer program. But the thing that I keep seeing, you guys, is people are still overbidding. The house that I was at for the open house, I wouldn't pay more than $550 for that thing. It was listed at $695 and it sold for $180,000 more than what it was. And it was a small little 3-bedroom, 2-bath in West Covina. So I don't know when they're gonna stop it, but I will tell you this. The president of CAR was at one of our meetings, and he was talking to the attorney that was at our meeting, and they were saying that a lot of the buyers that bought way overpriced and brought in extra cash are starting to have buyer's remorse. And if you don't think that they can sue you, you guys, I'm on CAR and I'm a director on Tri-Counties because I want to know what's happening before it happens. I knew about the new purchase contract a year and a half ago. So most people haven't even seen it yet. So the thing is to be ahead of the game and be ahead of everybody else will have you prepared, and that makes sense. And being prepared and knowing what's happening, these two people, the attorney and the president of CAR, are saying buyer's remorse, and everybody's like, oh, well, they can't sue us because I had them sign all that paperwork. They can't, but they can, because anybody can sue anybody for anything. You have to be there to defend yourself. So I don't know, how I'm going to be. I haven't put any offers where people way paid over price. But I would say I'm talking to my attorney right now about writing some type of disclosure. And they're already signing a thing about the market changes, because there is a disclosure about how the market changes. So be aware of all that stuff. I know there's lots of information, but I have some of it on my videotape right now. So I'll put it on my YouTube channel so that you guys can get to it and watch anything that you want to watch. I'm actually also trying to make playlists so that we have the playlist for real estate agents and the playlist for the loan officers. Okay. So make sure that your clients are ready to move when you're talking to somebody. Ask them if they have a down payment. Ask them if they're ready to make that move, because it is kind of scary for them, whether they're first-time home buyers or they're people that, maybe they're buying their second or third home. But realize that most people don't buy 8 or 10 homes in a lifetime. This is the biggest investment they make. And for us, we get to the point where, it's just another loan, especially when you're doing, 3 to 5 loans. As a loan officer who works at a broker, I like to do 3 to 5 loans a month. And 3 to 5 is fine. You're still gonna make enough money. And you guys, I want you to text me and tell me what you wanna do. Like we kind of talked already, but do you just wanna do loans? Do you just wanna be a real estate agent, or do you wanna do both? Because you can do both. I always just tell people though, if you're brand new, master one first. Because if you're being, I hate to say greedy, but if you're being greedy and you're doing both, if you screw up one, you may lose the client. For instance, let's say that you do a really great job finding them a home, but you're not really good at doing loans, and you pre-qualified them incorrectly, and now you put an offer in, and now you can't get the loan, now you're going to lose the whole deal because you're going to upset them. Okay? So be aware of all the little things that you have to be aware of, okay? All right, so first, I've been talking about these 3 things. There are 3 things that you should always know about your client. Whether you're a real estate agent or a loan officer, do they have a down payment? I told you I was going to pound this into your head today. Do they have a down payment? So when you're talking to somebody as a real estate agent or a loan officer, and it's the first time you're talking to them, you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, but I'm here to help you. And so a lot of times people think that, oh my gosh, I'm talking to this loan officer. I don't know if I should tell them this, or I don't know if I should tell them I'm borrowing the money. I always tell them to make them feel comfortable. I'm working with you to help you find the best deal that you can get. So everything, I need to know as much information as you can give me. Because like sometimes I'll go, well, we really shouldn't tell you that. And I'm like, yeah, you should, because I need to be aware of anything that's going to happen. Like right now, I have one. You like how I said that? I have one that she's an awesome buyer. She makes a lot of money. They have a big down payment. Everything's going great, but she can't find the right home. And she keeps getting outbid. Okay. One of the things that you should be doing is if they're qualified for $950, they should be looking at stuff that's $850 so that they can go ahead and put in a higher offer. Okay. But they have to be able to have the extra cash if the appraisal doesn't come in. So everything's hunky-dory. She has a down payment. She makes money. Everything's great. And the real estate agent calls me. She goes, did Monica tell you she's like 6 months pregnant? I'm like, no. And when I first met with her, she wasn't pregnant because she's been looking for 6 months. And so I said, well, it seems like discrimination, but I will tell you, okay, she's the breadwinner. Without her working, they can't make the house payment. And I don't know how much, how much disability she's going to get and how much time she's going to take off with the baby. And it is a known fact that mothers who have babies think that they're going to just pump that baby out and go back to work. And guess what? They don't, because they get that baby in their arms and they're like, oh, I got to take at least 8 weeks off because I want to be with the baby. I mean, but if they work out of their home, so she works part out of her home, part not out of her home. Well, here's the thing, you guys. When you're doing a loan with somebody, it's really hard if they have a baby, because you have to get the first 1 month pay stubs before you can actually do the loan again. So she has to have the baby, go back to work, and I have to prove that she's got a paycheck for 30 days. Well, guess what? The real estate agent's a new agent. She talked to her broker's manager of the office, and the manager of the office is taking mortgage classes, and he's a brand new loan person, but he's been doing real estate for 10 years, off and on. Well, he told the borrower that it didn't matter that she was pregnant. And he doesn't know anything about the parameters. He doesn't know that she's the breadwinner. So you're up against people that are talking to your client that probably shouldn't be talking to your client. So you guys have to make sure that your client is so focused and knows that you know what you're doing so that they don't take advice from other outside sources. Because a lot of times outside sources don't know what they're saying. And like I said to the person I was talking to today, another person is, I was talking to him about these 3 things. Do you have a down payment? What's your credit score and your income versus your debt? And she's already talked to like 3 or 4 people, and she says, everybody tells me something different. And I said, well, okay. I said, when they tell you something different, what are they telling you? And so they're preparing her. You guys, sometimes you get people that they're not ready right now to buy. However, you can help them prepare to be ready to buy. Okay. I'm going to teach you as much as I possibly can. And anything that you don't remember, I'm going to be putting up as much as I can up on my YouTube channel. But one of the things is, when you get somebody that doesn't have a down payment, that's okay, because they can start saving for the down payment, and you can start telling them what they need to do to prepare themselves. Maybe they have a down payment, but maybe they have a lot of debt. Maybe their credit score is not good. Well, you can help them and show them what they can do to their credit to make it better. And we'll talk about that when we get to because we're going to go through each of these things. What they can do to change their credit and increase their credit score, and their income versus their debt. Maybe their income versus their debt is, maybe they have 2 car payments. Maybe 1 car payment can be paid down. So the thing with the young lady I spoke to today, she's been being coached by all these people who think they know what they're talking about. And I hate to say it like that, but it's true. Because what they told her and her husband to do was, she bought a new car. Well, she bought a new car just under her name because she wasn't going to be on the loan. Okay, so they paid off all the husband's debt, and the husband's the breadwinner. So they're thinking, well, he's going to be on the loan. Okay, if they're first-time home buyers, they're probably going to go FHA. Well, make sure that you understand on FHA, if you're married, if you're not counting, you can say, well, my wife's not going to be on the loan. But if you're married, they're going to run her credit too, and they're going to see her debt. And because she bought a new car, that car payment is going to count against him. Okay. The other thing that you have to know on the small, easy stuff is on a VA deal, the only person that can co-borrow with the veteran is the spouse or another veteran. So with a VA, only your spouse or another veteran. And with FHA, the wife's debt, even if she has no income and even if she's not on the loan, is going to count against them. Okay? Am I throwing you guys a lot of information? Are you learning anything? I'm just worried. I want to make sure you guys learn something. All right, so we have those 3 things that are the most important thing. Down payment. Do your clients have a down payment? Believe it or not, I can't tell you how many times somebody calls me and says, I'm looking to buy a home. And I say, do you have a down payment? And they say, no. And then they say, what about first-time home buyer programs? And I just said it like 1,000 times. First-time home buyers up against somebody that has cash is not going to win. The good news is one of the buyers that was the biggest buyer that was all cash was Zillow. And Zillow was the one that was outbidding everybody. And they thought that they were going to flip houses. Well, Zillow thinks that it's cheap and easy to, as we call it, the flippers that do this just drive me crazy. I call it lipstick on a pig. And lipstick on a pig is somebody that comes in, cleans the property, maybe paints it and puts new flooring in it, maybe cleans up the kitchen or paints the kitchen cabinets, and then they want top dollar for the house. Okay, the problem that Zillow had was in this market, you don't have to do any of that. And they didn't know how to do it in the first place. And they were using, I hate to say this, and I don't want them to get mad at me, because I am going to have this on my YouTube channel. The problem with Zillow is they're usually about 20% off on their valuations. So if they're valuating the house at 20% off and they're thinking they're going to sell it and it's 20% off, then they're going to be off and they may not make any money. You have to be spot on when you're figuring a flip. So if anybody wants to ask questions about a flip, I can answer some of the questions. I'm not a contractor. I'm just a flipper. So I would find the houses, my son would fix them, and I would sell them. So with the down payment, believe it or not, many buyers start looking at homes prior to having a down payment. Just because you have a live and willing buyer doesn't mean they can actually buy. This is one of the things I see real estate agents do that I feel bad for them, because it's really hard to find somebody that wants to buy. But when you find somebody that wants to buy, just because they want to buy a property doesn't mean they can. And they will do, and some real estate agents will do everything possible to try to get that person who's square to fit in that round hole. And they're just not going to, because maybe they don't make enough income. Maybe their credit's so bad it can't be fixed for a while, or maybe they don't have the down payment. Okay. Once you find out that they don't qualify, let them go. Okay. Once you find, but I mean, if there's something that you can help them with, direct them to the right place to fix it so that they can come back to you. Does that make sense? All right. So down payment. Let's start with the easy one. A move-up buyer. So I'm going to show you. A move-up buyer. You receive this client because you're selling your current home. They're selling their current home. How much money will they have to purchase their new home? Get out your calculators. So calculators, let me talk about calculators really quick. I use this one called the Qualifier Plus. It's the best thing I've ever bought. I actually have the Qualifier Plus. You can buy them at the board office. You can order them online. I don't suggest to buy one because you can now upload the app. And the app is called Qualifier Plus. and I think it's $19.95. So it might be, I mean, that's how much it was a while back. It might be $21 or so, but it's a one-time fee. It's not a reoccurring fee. And that app, I could literally figure out a house payment in 6 seconds. And I'll show you guys how to do that when I'm not filming. When I'm not filming, I have my phone in my hand. So there's two types of main buyers. The main buyer is somebody who's buying a property and they don't have a property, and there's a buyer who is selling a property. Now there's a third buyer that I don't have in this class, and I'll add it into the class, is somebody who has a property, but now they're gonna buy another property and they're gonna keep this property. They're not gonna sell it. And the reason it's so important to know the difference between the one selling the property and the one keeping the property is because the qualifications on their new loan are going to make them have more reserves. If you have two properties, they're going to make sure that you have 6 months reserves, which is a lot of money. Okay. So let's start right now. This person, let's say that you have a real estate agent, or you are a real estate agent. You have a client that's going to sell their home. If you're the real estate agent and your client's selling a home, you need to make sure they qualify to buy their next home, okay? And this is the one mistake I see a lot of real estate agents do. In fact, the real estate agent that sends me a lot of business, I used to always ask him, give me your buyers, give me your buyers, give me your buyers. But then one day I realized he has lots of listings. And he goes, well, Sharon, I don't have any buyers to give you. I go, but yes, you do. Your sellers are going to be buyers. And I hope that you're getting those sellers, are you showing them other homes, or are you just letting them go buy something else? Because a lot of real estate agents like to be sellers agents or buyers agents. They don't want to do both. And that kind of blows my mind, because if I'm going to list somebody's home, I'm going to pre-qualify them for the next home. I'm going to ask them, where are you going? And if they're going somewhere really far away, like another state, then I'm going to see if I can help them. I can still see if they're qualified. The other states have the same loan qualifications we have. They're not different, but I can't, as a California licensed broker, I can't do the deal outside California. So I'd have to refer it to somebody else. But you can call around where they're looking and refer it to them and get a referral fee. Okay. So we're going to start with an easy one. These are people that are going to sell their home and buy another one. So they're move-up buyers. You list their home for $730,000, but you think they'll get at least $750,000. They owe $540,000 on their current mortgage, and they're comfortable with their current mortgage payment. That's another thing to talk about. They're comfortable with their current mortgage payment, but they're going to buy a more expensive home, so their current mortgage payment is not going to stay the same, right? Okay, the other thing that you guys are going to run across is people who are first-time home buyers. When you ask them what their payment is that they're comfortable with, they'll say, well, we're renting for $2,600. We'd like to have the same payment. Okay, renting and buying are two different things. So we'll talk about that when we get there, okay? So their current payment is $39.96.11. They're going to move up. Clients think they want to spend $800,000 on their new home. The sales price is $750,000. That's what they sell it for. Their current mortgage is $540,000. Cost to sell. So depending on, that's why I want you guys to text me and tell me what your goal is. What do you want to get out of this class? Because if I know what you want to get out of this class, like knowing how to qualify somebody, I know Ed wants me to do some reverse mortgage stuff. I'm going to add that to this class. If there's something that you're like really thinking, God, I really want to learn this, I wonder if she's going to cover it, text me and tell me. Tell me if you're a real estate agent. Tell me if you're a loan officer. Tell me if you're thinking of doing both, because that way I can kind of gear it towards that and answer your questions. So I'm going to give you my phone number. So most of you have, some of you have it. It's 714-745-6348. My YouTube channel, in case you need some information off of there. What I did, and I haven't had anybody go to it and tell me yet, because somebody told me I could do playlists. I don't know if you guys can go to my playlist. I made it so it was public. So one playlist is just mortgage stuff. One playlist is just real estate stuff. But then if you go to the actual channel, you can see all of them. So I don't know how the playlist thing works. I just started playing with that. But there's about 163 videos. I would say that about a third of them are just me screwing around, like me building my pool, me being on Wipeout the other night. Yeah, that was so cool. OMG. I have the video. I'm trying to upload it on YouTube, but it showed last night. How embarrassing. How funny. How cool. How crazy. That's all I'm going to say. Because I sat up there looking down 30 feet below and they wanted me to jump. But that was crazy. Anyway. So see, I'll try anything once. Maybe twice. We'll see. Anyway, so on your cost to sell, it's up to you and it's up to your broker. So if your broker says, hey, on every sale, you need to list it at least 5%. That means you're going to offer 2.5 to the buyer's agent and you're going to get 2.5. Now, some places will let you go lower. So cost to sell a home is usually about 2% over the commission. So if you know, so people always ask me to do a net sheet, and there's classes at your board on doing net sheets, you know, figuring out how much the seller's going to get. I can do a net sheet, and I teach people how to do net sheets, but a lot of times people just want to know the average cost. So if you're listing their house for 4% and it costs 2% for closing costs, then that's 6%, right? So minimum of 6%. And if you're charging 6% for the listing, then 8% would be the cost for them to sell their home of the sales price. So it's safe to say 2% plus your commission. You guys good with that? Okay. So at that, I think I did it at 7. Did I do it at 7%? So 540, and then the cost to sell was $52,500. So if they sold it for $750,000, 6 to 8%, $52,500. So that leaves them with a down payment of $157,500. So you subtract out this commission and the cost to sell. So they have a decent down payment, right? We're good there. Their purchase price is $800, $157,500 down payment gives me a loan amount $643 even. So this year they changed the loan amount, so I'll have to get you the new loan amounts. We'll have that tomorrow for you. But in this PowerPoint presentation, it has the old loan amounts. But that's okay. You'll be good. Now, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac make the guidelines. Last year, the loan amounts, the current loan limit was $548,250, and the high balance was $822,375. I will get you the new balances. They're much higher now, which is really, really cool, because those of you that are loan officers will know that you can go back and refinance people that were high balance because they're not high balance anymore. They're conforming. Okay. So this person that we're doing the loan for, it says, is a high balance loan, higher interest rate. So what's really interesting is those of you who just took your mortgage classes, because I teach the 20-hour and I teach the cram course, I know that they don't teach you about conforming and conforming high balance. They teach you about conforming and jumbo. Okay, they don't tell you that in between is high balance. So what happened was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are on the secondary market. Whenever I say secondary market is the people buying and selling loans on the back side, where you guys in the front won't see it, okay? The secondary financing is a second trustee. That's on the front side, okay? So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac make the rules and we have to follow them. Now, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac make the loan limits, okay? Now we have conforming high balance, and we have jumbo. The reason we have the conforming high balance in the middle is because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac had their conforming loans, but a lot of people, especially in California, Hawaii, and I believe Florida has high loan balances. They were going higher than the conforming limit, and so they were going to jumbo. Well, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were losing a lot of money to that jumbo market, so that's why they added the high balance. Does that make sense? Okay, but the high balance is a quarter higher. So if you're doing a conforming loan, so this is what you have to understand, and there's so much to understand when people are shopping for loans. A conforming loan is the best interest rate you're going to get, is conforming if you have a credit score of 740 or better and you qualify for your loan. But if your loan is high balance, it's going to be a quarter to 3/8 higher. So when people hear on the radio interest rates are like 2.875, that's a conforming loan where you have 40% loan to value, where you have a bunch of equity and you have a high credit score. Okay, they're cherry picking to get that low rate. Okay, so a higher interest rate when shopping for your loan, your clients need to know 2.99. Oh my God, we were at 2.99. Now we're so much higher. We're going to see what the rates are tomorrow. I'm giving you a current rate sheet. So tomorrow I'll bring you guys current rate sheets. You people online, they will send them out to you. Okay. Current interest rates, we'll see what they are and we'll see what the loan limits are. Conforming loans, 20% down and a 740 credit score. That's what we're looking. We're looking for an 80% loan to value with a 740 credit score to get the lowest interest rates. Okay. So as long as I have people writing in the classroom, I'm going to wait because I know that you people at home are probably writing too. Okay. And I don't want you to get too far overload tonight because tomorrow we're going to see rate sheets and see how to read them. Okay. We good? Example of the loan amount at 530. So a 30-year fixed at 2.99, the payment would be $22.31.60. On a 20-year, you'd get a slightly lower rate, but the payment would be higher because you only have 20 years to pay it back. And over the life of the loan, it will save you a ton of money in interest. 15-year loan, you're going to get an even lower rate, but you're going to have a higher payment because you're paying it off in half the time. However, you will save a ton of money on interest. So what's cool about that Qualifier Plus is you could literally sit in front of somebody and show them how much their payment is. Like I could figure the payment in about 6 seconds, and then I press another button and it tells me how much they're going to pay in interest over the life of the loan. And we'll talk about refis too, because on refis you want to know, okay, does it make sense for them to refi? So many people refinance, and it's like I have people showing me, they'll show me somebody's mortgage coupon and they're like, can you save them any money? Well, how long have they been paying their house payment? If they're at like 25 years and they're going to have their house paid off in 5 years and they only owe like, let's call it $80,000, but they want to refinance because they're at like 7%. Well, maybe what they should do instead is pay extra payments. It just depends. I mean, when I see somebody that hardly owes any money and they've had their loan for a long time, I'm going to tell them, you have to think about this. When you first get your loan, you're paying almost all interest and almost no principal. And then when you're about halfway through your loan, you're paying about half and half. And at the end of the loan, now you're paying almost all principal. You're not paying any interest. So why do you want to refinance? Because now you're going to push yourself back to paying interest. Does that make sense? And the only people that figure this out when they're refinancing, that really kind of look at it and go, well, I don't want to go back to 30 years, are usually attorneys, CPAs. There's a third one that are really difficult. Attorneys, CPAs, engineers. Got that? Those three. Those are your hardest clients. Okay. How to calculate the payment. This is where your next investment comes in. So I was telling you already about the Qualifier Plus. While at the office working, you'll be using mortgage software. So those of you who are going to be loan officers, you're going to be using Point, Encompass, or Lending Pad. Those are the top 3 popular ones. Point, Encompass, or Lending Pad. I personally like Point because I'm an old loan officer and it's super easy to use. Okay. So when you're sitting in an office talking to somebody, you can put in how much money they make, and then you can run their credit, and their credit auto populates into Point, and then it comes out and it will actually do all the work for you. But you have to learn how to use Point, Encompass, or Lending Pad. Okay. And once you learn how to use that, then you don't even have to have your own calculator. However, you guys, I don't know in this class if I teach this, but I teach people how to find leads. And let me tell you, if you can figure out house payments on your phone and tell people when because when I need business, I go shopping, but I don't go shopping. I go to Ross so I can find clients. So I'll tell you how I do that. Do you guys want me to just say that right now? Because you guys are just going like, how does she find buyers at Ross? So in my class called I Got My License, what do? There's two main things that work the most for me when I need business. I don't like to pay for advertising and leads. A lot of people pay for leads. And I was just talking to, I have an office that sends me deals. They just sent me 2 loans today. And I told one of the girls who works for them, I go, you guys aren't, there's 18 of you. Where's all the deals? And she says, we have to take at least 100 phone calls before we get 2 or 3 good deals. And so, if you're thinking 100 phone calls for 2 or 3 good deals, that's a lot of time and effort for really nothing, or for 1 or 2 deals. So when I want business, I'm not going to do the internet. I'm going to do what I know that works. And one of the things that came across me without even trying was my famous Ross trick. I was at Ross. It was Christmas time, and I'm going to pretend this is my phone. And what happened was I had just closed a deal. I was a loan officer. Mark, my friend, was a real estate agent, and it was that girl that I just told you guys about with the down payment assistant program. And so I'm standing in line at Ross, and I answer the phone, and it's Mark, and I'm like, yeah, I know, Teresa. She only had to put in $2,500 and she got a $78,000 condo. I know. Her interest rate was really low. She got an FHA loan on first and the down payment assist on the second. I know, it's crazy, right? You know what? I'm in line at Ross. I got to get through the line. So can I just call you when I get to my car? All right, cool. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. 2 people in front of me, 3 people behind me, all wanted to know if I was a real estate agent. And I'm like, well, I'm not a real estate agent. Technically, I'm a broker, but I'm the loan officer on this deal I was just doing. And they're like, that was a first-time homebuyer program we heard you do? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, how can we do that? I'm like, well, I can get your information, but do you think I gave him my business card? Did I give him my business card?
No.
I didn't give him my business card. Because you know what I do? I take a picture of my business card, and I said to them, I said, because I knew I was doing some Christmas shopping, I didn't really think about restocking my business cards. I go, I have a picture of my business card on my phone. Can I I could text you a copy of my business card. And the reason I do that is because I got to tell you, I have given out thousands of business cards, and I don't remember, I remember one time somebody called me because I gave them a business card. But if you get their phone number and you send them your business card, then now you got their phone number and you know they're interested in buying. So that way you won't lose them. So that's one way I get people. The other way I get people, and you guys should try this tomorrow. You guys are going to do this tomorrow. And this is even part of this class. You're doing this tomorrow. This works. So what you're going to do is you're going to go in your phone and go in your message area. And what I do is I scroll to the very first note, the very first text. So go to your very first text. And what you're going to text is this. Are you ready? This isn't even from this class, but you guys are getting this for free. Okay, ready? This is what it says. Let me think about it because it's a new year. So usually I do this at Easter. I do this when I don't have any business. And I do this at Christmas. I do it at holidays. So what I text is I said, I'm checking, wait. I'm trying to think of how we're going to start it. I'm just checking in with you. Hi, you can say hi or hey. You can say hey. Hey, I'm checking in with you. Text me back and let me know how you're doing. Now you can do, or you could do, hey, I just wanted to wish you an amazing, I like that one better. I just want to wish you an amazing 2022. Text me back and let me know how you're doing. The crazy part about that text is when you say text me back and let me know how you're doing, they text you back. It's crazy. You tell someone to do something, they do it. Now, where I got that from was when COVID first hit. What happened was, you know how we all got quarantined and we couldn't go outside? This one guy, what he did was he videotaped himself walking his dog with the blue sky behind him and green grass on the ground, and he had his dog with him. And he did a videotape, and you guys can do it. Girls, you can do it too. I just don't like doing it because every time I videotape, I usually have to do all my makeup, and I don't want to do all my makeup every day. And this guy said he does it every day. So what I do is I take classes to help my students learn stuff. And this guy was giving a class that was free. It's a free class to learn how to get leads. So his free class, he did the video and he said, hey, I'm just checking in with you, see how you're doing. Text me back and let me know what's going on with you and your family. And that's all he did. And he would text that to all of his people in his phone. And they all already knew he was a real estate agent. So then they would start a conversation. They'd text him back and he'd be like, okay, so you're doing cool. And they'd start a conversation. So I was going to do it. And then I decided, well, I don't know if I really want to do it. And then I was with Mark, my favorite real estate agent. And we, oh, by the way, that class that was that free little thing class, it led to a $6,000 class on how to get leads, which I didn't take because I'm not paying $6,000 to learn how to get leads. Besides, that thing he did was really good. So I was with Mark and we were going to stage a property in Wrightwood. And he goes, well, what are you doing to get business? Or what are you doing to motivate you? Because, you know, everybody needs to be motivated and pushed. And we were listening to 10X and he said 10X is free. I asked him the other day. He said 10X is free. You can get it on YouTube. And the guy was phenomenal. I wouldn't say he was good if he wasn't. He was really good. The other guy I think is really good is a guy named Daryl Davis. So, I said, well, you know, Mark, I got this thing where you're supposed to take a video of yourself and text it to all your friends and try to do some contact with them. Because you guys know that in your phone, you have some people in there that you haven't talked to in a long time. I have all kinds of people in there I haven't talked to in a long time. And there are people that already know that you're a real estate agent, but you haven't asked for the business yet. If you don't ask for the business, they're not going to give it to you. And that is 1,000% true. I'll tell you about that in 1 second. Let me finish the texting thing. So we're sitting in the car listening to 10X. He goes, well, Sharon, what are you going to do to get business? And I'm like, well, he goes, especially with this COVID thing and everything that's going on. I told him about the texting thing. And he goes, well, why don't you do it now? And I'm like, well, I was just going to text. I'm not going to do a video. He goes, well, we're sitting in the car for like an hour and a half. Why don't you start texting now? And I'm like, I'm kind of busy. I'm kind of making up all these excuses. And I go, besides, I got people like you sending me business. He goes, no, really, get some more business. And I go, okay, well, we'll do it. So that's what I did. It was right around Easter. It was right when COVID started in 2020. And I text, happy Easter. So you guys, Easter's coming up. And you got to be kind of careful because different people believe different things. But almost everybody celebrates Easter because they're going to take time off. And anytime they can take time off, they're going to do it. So I wrote, happy Easter. And then the little chickadees that are popping out of the eggs came up. So I put little chickadees popping out of the eggs. And I put, wishing you an amazing Easter. Text me back and let me know how you and your family are doing. And so so realize that I have 8,200 people on my phone. So I started texting and I didn't know how many people were going to text back. And I went and I scrolled all the way to the end. So there was a lot of people in there that didn't know me. And so I texted them and they said, some of them said, who the heck is this? And I wrote, your favorite real estate instructor. And then they went, oh, you know, I'm doing real estate. Or they went, oh, I didn't do it because it was just crazy. And they all made excuse, you know, whatever they were doing, then you got a conversation going. And so then once you get the conversation going, if you guys are new real estate agents or new loan officers, you can say, hey, I've been doing this. And then you start that conversation and you get leads. That day that Mark made me sit there and text people, I texted about 150 people. It got out of control. It got very intense. And I got a reverse mortgage, which I made $13,000 on. That was my amount. And I got a refinance and I made $6,000 on. So I made $19,000 from texting. So you guys, your homework tonight is to go to the very first text, even if you don't know who it is. Because if you don't know who it is, they're going to text you back and go, who the hell is this? And you're going to say, well, this is who I am. You know, how are you in my phone? How do we know each other? And you go back and forth. And that way you can eventually say, well, this is what I'm doing. Does that make sense? So that's something you guys should try tomorrow. Don't do more than about 30. Because once they text you back, then you're going to text them back and then you're going to go back and forth and it will get kind of crazy. So hopefully it gets kind of crazy for you and get some business. So let's go on to where we were. I was going to tell you something else, wasn't I? About the other way to get business. I'll think about it. Now I forgot what it was. I told you the texting. I told you God, I hate when that happens. That's what happens when you hit 60. You start forgetting stuff. It's really crazy. All right, so this is the Qualifier Plus. I told you it was about $19.99. If you see the keys, can you see it pretty good? Yeah, you can see it. So what you do is you put in the loan amount, and see on the left top corner, see the gray buttons that go across where the red button is? If you go all the way to the other side of the red button, it says loan amount. So what you do is you put in, let's say 600,000, and you hit loan amount. Then you put in the interest rate and you hit the dot that's right next to the red button, that's interest. Then you do 30-year term and you hit term. And to the left it says payment. See where it says payment? And within about 6 to 8 seconds, you'll have the payment on the house. Super fast, super easy. And if you get the calculator and you don't know how to use it, call me, I'll walk you through it. It's actually really easy, but that's the calculator, the Qualifier Plus. Back to our clients. So calculator's ready. So we are a hair under 20% down. So when they sell their property, they don't have a full 20% down. This is where communication comes in. Do our clients have a savings account or a 401k that they can tap into to get the full amount for them to have 20% down? In this market, you got to make sure your clients have another way to get some extra cash if they need to put in an offer that's higher than what it's going to appraise at. Does that make sense? Okay. How does their credit score affect their new loan? Remember that 740 is the magic number. You guys, 739 means they're going to get an interest rate that's at least a quarter higher, literally by 1 point. Now realize that what we do is when we run credit, let's say I run credit, I'm going to do a merge. It's called a tri-merge. The tri-merge is 3 credits. See, tri-merge, 3 credit scores. Okay. It's TransUnion, Equifax, and TRW. Okay. I think it's those 3. Anyways, it's the top 3 companies. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to get 3 scores. But what they do is they throw out the high score, they throw out the low score, and they take the middle score. Now, if you're a husband and a wife, this is what really sucks. They throw out both of your high scores, they throw out both of your low scores, and they take the lowest score of the 2 middle. So like one of the girls that I did a loan for that was buying in Lake Elsinore, I'll never forget this because she had a 780 and he had a 620. And because of him, they had to go FHA because they'd get a better interest rate FHA than they would if they went conventional because of his score. But so I got to teach you about the different types of loan types. Now, the other thing is when we run their credit report for a mortgage, it's a mortgage credit score. So when they're going online and they're going to Credit Karma and they're checking their credit, you'll get an idea what kind of credit they have, but it's not going to be the same score. Because when I run it for a mortgage, the system knows I'm running it for a mortgage. When you run it for a car, it's a different score, okay? So like if you have a client that went to buy a car and then they went to buy a house and it was right at the same time, the scores would be different because they're running it from a car dealership versus a mortgage company. So you really don't know what the score is going to be until we actually run the score, okay? So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac like 740. If you don't have a 740 credit score, they're going to add to the interest rate. So when we see the rate sheets tomorrow, you're going to see where they add on because of certain things. They add on if you're getting cash out. They add on if it's a purchase of a condo versus a house. They add on because of your credit score. So just because they're advertising a certain interest rate doesn't mean you're going to get that interest rate because of the add-ons, okay? What's an add-on? Here's the explanation of it. An add-on is where the interest rate or cost of the interest rate is increased based on several different factors. It could be the credit score. It could be the loan to value. It could be the type of property, okay? How can I get the best interest rate out there? Per Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the best interest rate in the market is if your loan amount is 510, 400 or lower. Remember I said I'd get the new loan limit. I think it's more like 622 now. I'll have to look it up for you. The credit score is still the 740 and the loan to value 60%. So when you hear somebody advertising really, really low rates, that means you're going to have to either, if you're doing a purchase, come in with 40% down, or you're going to have equity of 40%. Okay, you guys all get the equity and the loan to value thing? It's how much you're putting down versus how much the loan is, okay? Let's look at our borrowers. Their down payment is 15%. Their loan to value is 85%. And their credit score, the husband's middle score is 708. The wife's middle score was 722. So we have to go by the husband's middle score. Okay. On the rate sheet, it says, I was using the Orion rate sheet because Orion's really easy to work with. 704 was a 1-point hit at 85%. So when we look at the rate sheet tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to read a rate sheet. And when I show you the rate sheets, you guys don't get all excited because those are wholesale rate sheets. Those are what, if you're a mortgage broker, you can sell it for to the lender. I mean, that's your price without you charging points to the client. Does that make sense? So you have to make sure that you add on the points for the client. So 704 credit score was a 1-point hit at 85% loan to value. So they're putting 15% down. Calculation of the new payment. The sales price is $800,000. The down payment's 15%. So that's $120,000. And the loan amount is $680,000. Is that easy math? Are you guys good on that? So you have 800,000 times 15% is the 120. 800,000 minus the 120 is the 680. Let's compare the difference with 15% versus 20% down. So sometimes your clients can get a down payment assistance for that extra 5%, or they can pull it from their retirement account, or they can get a gift from a family member, okay? Payments at $680 at 3.125. Principal and interest are going to be $29.13. For those of you, if you have a mortgage calculator or if you downloaded the Qualifier Plus, you put in the $680, you hit loan amount, you put in 3.125, you hit interest, and then you put 30 years, you hit term, and then you hit payment, and you'll get the payment of $29.13. Taxes. Believe it or not, most people, obviously if they haven't bought a house before, they have no idea what property taxes are. We are in the beautiful state of California. And in the beautiful state of California, the basis on the taxes is 1%. And then depending on the city or the county that you're in, that's going to add on to the other 0.25 or higher. So the average taxes on property in California is 1.25%. So this is how you calculate the payment. Don't make it harder than it is, you guys. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so once you figure out the principal and interest, then you're going to figure out the taxes. So the taxes are based on the purchase price. So you're going to take the 1.25 times the purchase price, and it equals $10,000. And that's per year. You're going to divide it by 12, and the monthly taxes are $833 and 33 cents per month. I always say if we didn't have property taxes, anybody could buy a house, right? Look at, you're adding an extra $834 to your house payment. Crazy, right? And you really should know how to do this. I would say 9 out of 10 working real estate agents don't know how to do this, which is really sad. We should all know how to calculate this. I will tell you that when I went to Texas, because I was going to buy investment properties in Texas, that when I went to the offices there and asked them if they could help me as an investor and tell me the rules and what the taxes would be, nobody called me back. And I'm like, well, I don't want to buy. If I need to know if I'm going from if I'm going to a different state, I need to know what the property taxes are going to be, right? Because that's going to affect my investment. Mortgage insurance. With 15% down, a high balance loan, you're going to have an MI factor. It's going to be 0.25%. So mortgage insurance factor. Now, I'm going to tell you the easiest way to calculate out a payment. There's this thing, it's called Nerd Wallet. N-E-R-D Wallet. So I'm going to give you guys shortcuts. So Nerd Wallet, if you don't want to spend money on getting a calculator, what I did was I put in my Google search. So go in your Google search. You guys could play with this tomorrow on your free time. I put, how do I calculate my mortgage insurance? And by putting in, how do I calculate my mortgage insurance? I found the best one, which was Nerd Wallet. The reason I like that is it's not a mortgage company trying to get me to put my information in. to find out my information. You guys good there? All right, so I'm going to shut off the video because we're going to do NerdWallet on our phone right now.